この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Violet Evergarden. This might be the last video in the series, I'm not really sure, but we'll see. We're starting with episode 11. Last week we watched 8, 9, and 10, and due to some unfortunate circumstances, episode 10 was kind of the odd one out, and definitely not as good a reaction as it could have been, or as emotionally impactful as it could have been. And there are two factors to this. One, 8 and 9 are real heavy. There's a lot that goes on there with what I assume is the majority of the resolution of the whole emotional arc for Violet and Gilbert, and finding meaning in her past. 8 and 9 were absolutely fantastic. The war scenes, the horrors of war, and the horrors of loss and acceptance of it eventually were just fantastically done, and I really enjoyed those two episodes. Episode 10 as a standalone episode was also fantastic, and maybe the best standalone episode. But two things. One, I watched it right after 8 and 9, and so it lost a lot of weight for me because I really thought that it would be more directly connected. Now, there were, of course, a lot of connections, and it functions in a way as the ending part of Violet's grieving process, as she finds out that Gilbert is no more and comes to terms with that, and then finds herself in a somewhat similar situation to people like Claudia, who are trying to protect her from that knowledge, as she is ghostwriting letters from An's mother to An, and it's rather beautiful. There was one other factor that I wasn't aware of, which is that apparently I was watching the Blu-ray version, and apparently the TV version has a different song over that entire scene. It uses the ED song that we've heard multiple times before. In the 2 weeks, by the way, sorry for the break, in case you can't tell, I have moved, and it was an ordeal, so everything from Friday to Monday has been delayed by a week, so thank you for your patience. But in the time in between, I went and I found the TV version. I rewatched the episode, and I will admit that it had a lot more emotional impact with that song over it. It still did not break me into tears, but maybe that's because it was on second viewing, and was a really fantastic episode, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. The only issue was that it should have been watched alone. So the person responsible for that has been sufficiently chastised, and they know who they are, so it's all good. We're still getting to enjoy this wonderful show. Or, get absolutely soul crushed by it. Give or take, whatever. Tomato, tomato. We've got 3 episodes left. I don't want a repeat of that situation. I've been informed that episodes 11 through 13, and by multiple people this time, are one arc and probably best viewed all together. It is already like 1:30 p.m., so I don't know if that's going to be possible. We might just break it up into 1 and 2. We'll see. We're basically going to play it by ear, and if there are cliffhangers or it feels like we're in one contiguous story and we need answers, then we will just power on through and watch all 3, and that will be totally fine. But no promises. You'll already know because the title will have the number of episodes and all that jazz in it, but we'll play it by ear and we'll see. So, what next? I mean, we had this single episode arc, if you want to call it that, of going to An's place and seeing a lot of Violet's work through the perspective of this little girl waiting for her mother to die. A terrible situation, but one that they found a very interesting sort of solution to. And we've, for the most part, resolved the grief over Gilbert. So what next? I have to imagine that there is still some unresolved things with Dietfried. I don't like him very much, but we'll see. Or we could just introduce something entirely new and focus on that for these next 3 episodes. I really don't know. So, let's find out, shall we? I've got episode 11 of Violet Evergarden, and we are still using the Blu-ray disc versions. Hopefully that's okay. I don't know. I've got episode 11 of Violet Evergarden up and ready to go. It is at 0 seconds. There will be 2 versions of this reaction as usual. You can find a picture-in-picture version with the video up there, linked in the description, and a timer-based version up on YouTube. If you want to do a syncy thing and sync up your own copy of these episodes with the timer-based version, you are welcome to do so. Just get your copy ready because the beep beep timer to count you down will be coming at you now. All quiet. Leave it to Catalia. Katorea. Sending her back into a war zone, perhaps? There's a line. Sodana. That's a hell of a name for a base. She will volunteer, won't she? No letter should go undelivered. What about one who's familiar with war? One who is or has been a living weapon? Oh, that's gotta be our boy. Maria. Which portion is he fighting for, I wonder? The moderates or the radicals? We don't know. Maybe we will. So, in a very real way, this might force Violet to actually face her past. Not just to accept it. Whoa, Violet. She took the request. On her own. Yeah. Oh, this track. Familiar sights. Yeah. Post office. We will go wherever our clients request. Yep. Have some clothes. Oh. 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 So the meta space is the moderates. I am familiar. Clink. It's real difficult. That's why. Oh. Muddy, muddy. Sounds fun. Then that's what we'll do. Hey, she's super serious. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Aww. Yep. And I am the delivery. What if he dies before she gets there? Hmm. So far, yeah. Hmm. Is that where Maria is? Fuck. There goes your commander. Keep it down, fam. Snipers? Yep. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Okay. Wow, this got real tense real fast. I'm sorry, Aiden, buddy. You're super dead. Pretty darn sure. No survivors. Oh, that's Yale. Right. Okay. You need to leave. He's gone. For Maria. Oh, they've got a bead. Okay. She's gonna try to deliver his letter anyway, but she doesn't know what he wants to send. That's the setup, isn't it? Oh. Sorry, bud. Yeah. She's jumping. She's still alive. POW. Hmm. Hmm. Is she gonna drop in right there? No way. Big way. How about Blonde Death? That was a real early parachute drop. Okay. Hi, I'm a murder machine. Hey, I'm a murder machine. Oh. Oh. Yeah, good move. Good move. No. Bye. Hi. Okay, he's still alive. Okay, we'll just hand wave it. I'm here for you had a request? Jesus. What the fuck? Oh. Well, there are these services. Uh-huh. Yep. A lovely lady will put your feelings into words. Yeah, you've lost a lot of blood. That's why I'm here. Oh. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Fingers she can't even feel. Yeah. Oh, stains on the handkerchief. Aishiteru. Oh. That was what she mouthed. She'll find out the meaning of Gilbert's words through using them for someone else. Oh, this is gonna hurt. But I haven't. But she has. With those hands. Maria. Aishiteru. Fuck. I'm sorry for going silent. I don't know what there is to say. She buried him? Yeah. The pickup? Yep. Your item. when she's delivered the letters. Right. Oh. Nope. Nope. Yeah. Aiden or Gilbert or both. Well, sorry, my voice. Well, that was a beautiful episode. It feels like a completed loop of a story. I don't know how it would be connected to the next ones. Maybe they're three separate stories that lead to some greater realization for Violet. I don't know. Back into a war zone, back into a battlefield. Not to bring death, but to bring compassion. She doesn't take a life while she's there. She watches one slip through her fingers and can't stop it. But she can fulfill his last wish. And what she receives is not hatred or anything else, it's pure gratitude. Wow. This was brilliantly executed. I had all of these ideas of where the story might go, and the way that it actually went was fantastic. Now, there's one thing that I'm not 100% clear on, which is, what did Aiden mouth that we heard, or that we didn't hear? I'm under the impression that he said "aishiteru," the same "I love you" in the same way, which some people have pointed out is a very, very serious romantic "aishiteru," the same way that Gilbert said it to her. I think that's the only thing that makes sense in context, because as we've been going through Violet, the clearest theme that's woven into the OP and the ED and every element of the storytelling that we've had so far is discovering and relating to one's own feelings by attempting to verbalize, not necessarily vocalize, but put into words, to verbalize the feelings of others. Understanding and compassion leads to compassion for self and understanding of self. And so, with that as a frame, or a filter, or a lens, his statement as he dies of "aishiteru" toward Maria, this girl he loves, combined with his yearning, his knowledge that he's going to die, that he cannot act on that love, that he cannot do what he would want to do for her, is one that echoes and clarifies what Gilbert meant when he said it to Violet, in a very similar situation, knowing that he was dying, telling her only a few things: go and be free, and I love you. If that's not canonically what he said, what he mouthed, I would like to know, but I would also kind of not like to know, because I think that works best for the story. I think that's what he mouthed. I mean, we can go and look. There are so many things that land in this episode. The fact that she uses those cold, metallic, inhuman hands to hold his hand as he passes from this world, as though she's trying to hold his soul here a little bit, but also knowing that he's gone. Those hands that Dietfried yelled at her, those hands stained with so much blood that have taken so many lives. That's so good. The fact that he sees them and in the firelight calls them beautiful. Not horrifying, but beautiful. Where does he mouth it? No, he says, wait for me. I think it's before this. I want to come home to you. Wait for me. No. I don't actually know where it is. Okay, whatever. It's 99.9% that he said "aishiteru." I'd rather you wrote the letter is such a perfect line for the situation. And something that I noticed, just the framing of this whole scene as we move along, not so much in the letter to his mother and father, although that one is beautiful. But once he starts talking about Maria, the framing just draws closer and closer and closer to him. It becomes more and more intimate, focused deeply on the eyes, and even though they're upside down, the movement of his eyebrows and the struggling as he speaks becomes more and more and more of an intimate, real human experience that Violet is sharing with this dying man. Maria to Maria. I'll put those feelings of yours into words in a letter. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. What will you do with your own feelings, Violet? I know where it happens. It's right before she kisses his forehead. Right there. Aishiteru. And that's why she's taken aback by it. Oh, that hurt. Fuck you, show. And he's gone. And he's gone. And she couldn't do anything about it. She arrived a moment too late. And I don't care about the contrivance of her getting airdropped directly onto the guy whose letter she wanted to send immediately before he's about to bleed out. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's for the story. It works. Pain. And perseverance. And she breaks and she cries for another. Gratitude for bringing news of his death, for bringing his last words to them. Gratitude. Do I deserve it? Asked Violet a few episodes ago. Am I worthy of any of this? And the world screams back, yes, and thank you. It means everything. Thank you for bringing our son back to us. Oh, that's so good. An emotion wells within her. She still has trouble accepting that she can do good. And more than that, regret. Violet lives in a sea of regret, or a flame of it, if you will. She has for a long, long time. She doesn't know how to balance that scale or whether it can be balanced. But the world is telling her that what she's doing is good, that it is appreciated, that her stalwart, unflinching desire to deliver these letters, to take other people's emotions and turn them into words and deliver them to where they need to go, the world is telling her that that's necessary and important and powerful, and it is, and we see it, and we watch it. All of the lines that she says to them, the apologetic lines, function for Aiden, but they also function for Gilbert. Not things that she wants to say to someone in particular, but things that she wants to say. I'm sorry. I couldn't protect you. I couldn't bring you back alive. And just a little bit from this experience, just a little bit, she's closer to her goal of understanding what he meant when he said that same word to her. Aishiteru. What does it mean? She's one step closer to understanding. Now, while the focus of this episode and the climax of it is very obviously this sequence, as he speaks his feelings to his dying words to Maria through Violet. And we watch this soldier with his parched, cracked lips say those same words that she heard from Gilbert, across distance, across space, and across the boundary of life and death to the woman who he loves. While this is obviously the climax, there is plenty of other good stuff going on in this episode. So, some side notes. The fact that war is brewing once more and Violet is sent into the thick of it, not sent, that she sends herself, really, is fantastic and interesting in its own right. It did not go the way that I expected it to, but it is fascinating. Seeing the horrors of war once again, but this time from a distance, not as a soldier, but as a doll. Hearing of conflict beginning again, dispassionately. I like these post office guys. This guy's fine, but Mr. Actual Pilot, I like him a lot. The scene where he comes to like her and chuckles is great. Yes, she is. Yes, she is, and we will go anywhere. I would also say that Bayoreto in a warm winter cap is like the cutest. Look at that. It's so fucking cute. I want one. Oh, it's really cute. And as she takes to the air, he enters combat. I love how each of the characters in this little crew, although they are immediately disposable and are there to be disposed, has a very clear character and a very clear setup. We've got the commander, who's a bit older, a bit more weary. We've got this guy who's all grizzled and just doesn't give a fuck at the moment. They're all unique. It's pretty great. And then, of course, the one that we find out the most about, besides Aiden, is Yale, obviously the youngest of them. Maybe younger than Violet. Maybe younger than Violet was when she was at war. And being sent to deliver messages and stuff. A bit of a courier. And then horror strikes in very much the same way that it happened to Violet. Commanding officer, shot in front of you, sudden ambush, nothing to do. Horror. It's a really unique explosion. Just in terms of the way it's conveyed. We see it from so close to the blast, as though we're really there and being struck by it, that it's just a whirlwind of flame. It's really interesting. And they fall, and they fall. Once they start walking, these scenes become absolutely beautiful. I think they've removed the white filter that's over most of the show for these scenes, and I think it's effective. Oh no, it's still there. It's still there. It's got a little bit of the purple hue to it. This forest is gorgeous. And it's a really stark contrast between the horror that they're experiencing and this beautiful landscape, gorgeous background. It's really kind of a travesty to be spilling blood across it. And then we see what Violet sees as they pass over the same beautiful forest, but with bodies littered across it. Horrible, horrible. It was a cool shot. That's a bad shot. I don't want to die. I want to go home. Out in the open. And the shot rings out. And here our story begins. Oh, okay. It was weird about the perspective there for a moment, but it wasn't as strange as I thought. Yeah, the floor. Pure white, perfect, snow, littered with blood and bodies. I like this moment quite. Actually, there are a couple of things I like here. One, the violet hair waving. I mean, Kyoani, when it comes to hair and wind, I don't know anybody who does it better. They put so much detail into their hair and wind. It's kind of insane. I think this is just 3 frames. Yeah. Gorgeous frames though. And then as he says, there's no way you can go down there. We hear a clickety clack as she unbuckles herself and gets ready to go. Huh? What are you? Oh. And now she comes. And then we verge into the action. Now, these guys could be faceless goons for all that it matters, but we take care in having unique character designs for all of them. It's pretty fascinating. But cold, hard eyes. A child? Well, sort of. And then we dive into an action sequence. They're overlaying the frames, huh? Yeah, they are. Or they're just doubling as she moves. Make it look like she's moving faster. Whole thing goes to 24, though. Yeah, they're doubling the frames at 24. Doubling the vision. That's really unique. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that. As though the eyes are having trouble focusing on her. How does it look in motion? Yeah, there's a bit of a blur there. But it doesn't look as strange as you'd think after the frame by frame. It's zzzt, zzzt. Non-lethal against all of them. No death. This is a sequence of great cuts. I want to see that one at like half speed. Sorry to keep going over this. I think this is a really fascinating cut. Okay, we're playing, right? Yep. So we hit the ground, tumble, firing, firing. That's super unique. It creates a completely different effect from anything else that I've seen. That's quite cool. It's the combination of doubling her and upping the frame rate and animating every individual frame, but then splitting the cell and making them partially transparent. Really fascinating. So he's seen her or knows of her. Out we go. I don't want to die. And off you trot. They become unimportant to the story. And then our focus shifts and narrows to this sequence. Oh, wow. This is a really, 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 really good episode. I liked it a lot. Now, I might be wrong. I'm probably wrong. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I feel satisfied with this episode. It hit its emotional beats really hard, and they landed for me. I feel like this particular segment is complete. And so, in the interest of not overcrowding my brain with Violet Evergarden gorgeousness, I'm going to call it here for the day, and we will watch 2 episodes next week. I had to do 2 and 1 or 1 and 2, and I think just because there's nothing that's set up here that seems like it needs to be resolved, I think this is a good place to stop. So, if you were looking forward to 3 videos or 3 episodes, I'm sorry. It's not viable for Violet. So, we will call it here. I think this was a fantastic episode. I kind of hope that what the plan is that we have 3 separate requests or letters written or experiences for Violet that build and build to some greater realization for her. It's what seems to be where we're going, and I could be wrong, and that's okay. I'm sure whatever they do will be wonderful. And this was a really solid episode. On a character perspective, on a setup perspective, on not going the ways that I expected and going different and wonderful ways instead. This was great. And sad. But beautiful. So, I'm going to call it here. I've been Teeaboo. This has been Violet Evergarden, episode 11. I hope you've enjoyed or been soul crushed by this episode as much as I have. Again, tomato, tomato. And I hope to catch you next week when we will actually finish Violet Evergarden. See you there. Peace.